I went back to every episode of Miraculous Ladybug and counted every single akumatization. I also noted down what or who was directly or indirectly responsible and put it into this massive spreadsheet. The main reason for this was because I wanted to answer the question of who is responsible for the most akumatizations, but I not only answered that, but also many other questions too. Like how many akumatizations are there in the show, who are the top 5 most egregious akumatizers, etc. So if you want to know the answer to these questions and more, stay tuned. Before we get into that, let me quickly just say thank you so much for the crazy support on the channel. We hit 2,000 subscribers only 2 days after hitting 1,000, so thank you guys very much. Again, these milestones are impossible without you. Now, let's get right into the video. To preface the information, I want to say that this is only counting akumatizations from season 1 to season 5. I didn't count season 6 because it's not finished, and not every character from the aggressed arc is present. I didn't count the games because I haven't played them. I didn't count the specials because, frankly, you couldn't pay me enough money to rewatch United Heroes. I didn't count the movie because it isn't canon to the show. I'm also going to do a quick rundown of my definitions for direct and indirect akumatizations. If a character's actions were responsible for the reason of the akumatization, that counts as directly responsible. If a character's actions or inactions in a situation contributed or led to an akumatization, then that counts as indirectly responsible. Also, self-akumatizations or intentional akumatizations immediately count as directly responsible against the akumatized victim. I know a lot of people are going to say things like, that character wasn't responsible for that, or it's outrageous you'd say it's their fault. Whether or not the reason for akumatization is valid or not, there's still going to be someone responsible. For example, if a guy asks a girl out and she rejects him, and he gets akumatized because he's sad from the rejection, the girl would be directly responsible for the akuma. That's not to say she holds any liability because she's in her right to say no, but she is directly responsible because she caused the reason for the akumatization. Lastly, there's going to be some differences with the shorts I made because going back through, I did notice some mistakes that I made the first time. With all that squared away, let's get into answering some questions. Firstly, how many akumatizations have there been in the show? I counted all on-screen akumatizations or reasonably expected in-episode akumatizations, meaning if the character wasn't akumatized on screen, but you can reasonably assume that they were akumatized during the episode's runtime, then that counts as an akumatization. This means I didn't count all 72 of Mr. Pigeon's akumatizations because we've only seen maybe 3 on screen. This also meant I had to count every single one that occurred in Heroes Day, which was a nightmare. Also, I counted anybody who got the mask. You didn't have to turn into a villain to be counted as akumatization. But after going through and counting, I can wholeheartedly say that there are 195 akumatizations that we see in Miraculous. There were some problems trying to find this, but this is the final number I got. Next, who has been akumatized the most? Very quickly, I'm going to cut to a live demonstration to show you the answer and to talk a bit more about the spreadsheet. Yeah, how's it going, guys? Just a little demonstration on the spreadsheet. As you can see, it is massive, but it does indeed work. If I type in a name right here, it'll tell me the individual direct causes. So not their total direct causes, but their individual. Same thing here, but it is indirect individuals. As you can see, Gabriel has none. And if I type in a name here, it'll tell me how many times they've been akumatized. So if I try it out with Marinette, as you can see, she's been akumatized 3 times, which makes sense. Princess Justice, Panic, and Unmask her. But for the moment you've all been waiting for, who has been akumatized the most using this lovely formula? Excel tells me Chloe has been akumatized the most times, with I believe to be 9. So there you have it. Chloe is the most akumatized with 9. Here's a chart showing the most akumatized characters and just notable characters because most had 2 or 3 and I didn't want to show them all. Alright, next, who has directly caused the most akumas? To all you Marinette haters, be sure to hold your horses because she didn't take the top spot. Number 1 actually goes to good old Gabe. Yes, I know technically he is responsible for every akumatization, but for this video I was specifically looking at the causes, which means Gabriel gets counted separately. He still came out on top though with 68. Here's a chart with the biggest offenders, and notice that Plague and Tiki both have 0 direct causes. Good job, Kwamis. Then we have who has indirectly caused the most akumas. Marinette haters rejoice, as she does take the top spot here. Marinette has indirectly caused 26 akumas. Second is actually Adrian, which surprised me, and third is Natalie. Here's a list with the top offenders, and notice Tiki, Tomoe, and Kagami all have 0 here. Good job, guys. Keep it up. Penultimately, who has caused the most total akumas? If you were doing some math while watching the previous sections, then you'd probably know the answer, but to you normal folk, the person responsible for the most akumas is Gabriel with a whopping 70 akumas. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that Gabriel caused 70 akumas or the fact that Marinette caused only 5 less than him. Fun fact, if I take out the Heroes Day 2-parter episodes, Marinette takes the top spot by exactly 30 akumas. If you don't believe me, here's a comparison to a chart not including the events of Heroes Day. Night and day difference when it comes to Marinette's apparent want to maintain her career as a hero. There's one last chart I want to show you before the finale, and that's this one. This chart is about intentional akumatizations. Now, I don't like Marinette as much as the next guy, but I'm gonna keep it a $150 with you. While she's responsible, it isn't intentional. I'll put the stats up next to the chart, but the fact that out of Marinette's 65 akumas caused, only 1 was intentional, or 1.54% of her total akumas caused, is pretty good. Compare that to Gabriel, Chloe, Lila, or Tomoe, who have outrageous percentages. Marinette is kind of a menace, but it's by design. She's the protagonist, which means she has to be shoehorned into the plot somehow. If that means causing an akuma, then that's how it has to be. Now for the finale. I'm just gonna name characters and show their stats on the screen. Those stats being how many times they were akumatized, how many akumas they directly caused, and how many akumas they indirectly caused. Alia, Nino, Zoe, Luca, Kagami, Max, Ivan, Milen, Kim, Sabrina, Nathaniel, Alex, Felix, Mr. Damocles, Officer Roger, Mayor Bourgeois, Audrey Bourgeois, Tomoe, Lila, Chloe, Natalie, Gabriel, Tiki, Plag, Adrian, and Marinette. Like, subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed.